The Grinning Clowns, the terrifying tale of Patricia and Lucas. Lucas was an ordinary man, living an ordinary life. He had a good job, a loving wife named Patricia, and a beautiful home in the suburbs. However, what Lucas did not know was that his life was about to take a turn for the worse. It all started with the clowns. A new circus came to town, and the clowns were everywhere. They were in the streets, in the stores, and even in Lucas and Patricia's neighborhood. Lucas had never been afraid of clowns before, but there was something off about these ones. Their faces seemed to be frozen in a permanent grin, and their eyes were cold and soulless. Every time Lucas saw one, he felt a chill run down his spine. It was not just Lucas who felt the unease. Patricia had started having nightmares about clowns, and she would wake up in the middle of the night, covered in sweat. She tried to brush it off, telling herself that clowns were silly and harmless, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was not right. One night, Lucas was coming home late from work. As he turned into his street, he saw a group of clowns gathered in his front yard. He thought it was odd, but he did not want to make a scene. He walked past them, trying to ignore their laughter and jeers. However, as he approached his front door, he heard a voice behind him. "Hello, Lucas," said a clown, stepping out from the shadows. "We've been waiting for you." Lucas whirled around but found himself surrounded by a group of clowns, each one looking more terrifying than the last. "What do you want?" he demanded, trying to keep his cool. The clown who had spoken first stepped forward, his grin widening. "We just want to play," he said, holding out his hand. Lucas did not know what to do. He could feel his heart racing, and his palms were sweaty. He should have just turned around and run, but he was frozen in place. Suddenly, Patricia appeared at the door, looking worried. "Lucas, are you okay?" she called out. The clowns all turned towards her, and for a moment, time seemed to stop. Then, they began to advance towards her, their grins widening even further. Patricia screamed, trying to shut the door, but the clowns were too strong. They burst into the house, and Lucas could hear her cries and the sounds of struggle from inside. He wanted to help her, but he was paralyzed with fear. The clowns emerged from the house, dragging Patricia with them. She was bleeding from a cut above her eye, and her clothes were torn. Lucas could see the look of terror on her face, and his heart broke. The clowns just laughed, and then they were gone, leaving Lucas alone in the darkness. He sank to the ground, the cold fear ran through his body, and he could not stop shaking. He was sure that the clowns had taken Patricia somewhere, but he did not know where. He called the police, but they did not believe him. They told him it was probably a group of pranksters or kids in costumes, and that Patricia would turn up soon enough. But she did not. Days turned into weeks, and Lucas became more and more desperate. He searched the town, the woods, and the abandoned buildings, but he could not find any trace of her. He started having nightmares, and he could still hear her screams echoing in his mind. Then, one day, he received a package in the mail. It was a box wrapped in black paper, with a note attached. It read, "For Lucas, from the clowns." He hesitated before opening it, but his curiosity got the better of him. Inside, he found a clown's nose, a red wig, and a CD with a message scrawled on it. "We had fun with Patricia. Now it's your turn." Lucas knew he was doomed. The clowns were coming for him, and there was nothing he could do to stop them. He tried to run, but they were always one step ahead of him. Their laughter followed him everywhere, and he could no longer distinguish between reality and the nightmares that tormented him. One night, he woke up to find himself in a dark room. He could hear the sound of water dripping, and the faint whisper of voices in the distance. Suddenly, the lights came on, and he found himself face to face with the clowns. They were standing in a circle around him, their painted faces leering in the light. Lucas could feel their hot breath on his face, and he knew that this was the end. Suddenly, Patricia appeared in the middle of the circle, her eyes empty and void. She was wearing a clown's outfit, and she reached out to take his hand. "Join us," she whispered, her voice dripping with malice. Lucas felt a surge of terror coursing through his body. He knew he had to get out, but the clowns were too strong. He could see their grins, and he knew that he was going to die. The last thing he heard was their laughter, echoing in his ears as everything went black. When he opened his eyes, he found himself back in their home, with a clown's nose and wig on his head. The end.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and tell us what you think in the comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.